Have you ever held on to something so tightly, not because it was good for you, but because you couldn't imagine letting it go? Maybe it was a relationship that had stopped feeling safe long ago, a career path that no longer inspired you, or a dream you once had that now feels like it belongs to someone else. Yet you kept telling yourself, maybe if I just try a little harder, things will change. That feeling, clinging to the belief that things will get better, even when all the evidence says otherwise, can feel noble, even courageous. After all, hope is supposed to be a virtue, right? We're taught from childhood that it's what keeps us moving forward, that it's the spark that lights the dark moments of our lives. And often, that's true. But there's another side to hope, one that's rarely talked about. The way it can quietly turn into a chain. When hope stops motivating us and starts trapping us, it becomes something different. A force that doesn't just hold on to the future, but keeps us stuck in the past. And here's the tricky part. You might not even notice it happening, because unlike obvious forms of self-sabotage, the hope that keeps you stuck wears a disguise. It whispers reassuring stories about persistence, about resilience, about the reward that's surely just one more step away. But in reality, it can keep you walking in circles, investing energy into something that's no longer aligned with your growth. Today, we're going to explore why this happens, why something as beautiful as hope can sometimes stop you from moving forward, and how to recognize when it's time to loosen your grip, not because you're giving up, but because you're making space for something better. To understand how hope can become a trap, we need to start by looking at what hope actually is. At its core, hope is an emotional prediction, a mental picture of a better future that fuels your actions in the present. Psychologists often describe it as a combination of two things: the belief that a goal is possible and the belief that you can take steps to reach it. When both are present, hope can be a powerful driver. It pushes you to keep going when the path is hard, to try again after setbacks, to stay focused when rewards are far away. But here's where the problem starts. Our brains are wired to value consistency over accuracy. This means that once you've invested deeply in a particular future, your mind will naturally resist abandoning it, even when new information suggests it's no longer realistic or healthy. It's the same mechanism that makes people keep putting money into a failing business or stay in a relationship long after love has faded. They've tied their identity to the hope of a specific outcome. And because hope is emotionally uplifting, it's easy to confuse persistence with progress. Imagine you're climbing a mountain, believing that the summit will change everything for you. But halfway up, the weather turns dangerous and the path crumbles. Instead of reconsidering, you tell yourself, if I just push harder, I'll make it. In reality, you're risking more than you realize, not just your physical safety, but the chance to find another path entirely. In this way, hope can blind us to the fact that circumstances have changed, that the destination we once longed for might not even exist in the way we imagined it. The key is learning to tell the difference between hope that sustains you and hope that chains you, and that starts with recognizing the subtle signs that you're holding on for the wrong reasons. One of the clearest warning signs is when your hope is built more on what if than what is. If you find yourself constantly imagining a turning point that never comes, telling yourself that next week, next month, or next year things will finally change, you might be living more in a fantasy than in reality. This is often reinforced by something psychologists call the sunk cost fallacy. The more time, energy, or emotion you've invested, the harder it is to walk away, because leaving would mean admitting that your investment won't pay off. Another sign is when hope starts to override evidence. Maybe friends, colleagues, or even your own gut are telling you something isn't working, but you dismiss those signals because they don't fit the story you want to believe. This selective blindness can keep you from making choices that would actually serve you better. And then there's the emotional toll, when hope begins to feel exhausting instead of energizing. Healthy hope usually gives you momentum, even when things are difficult. But when you're stuck in the wrong kind of hope, it feels like running on a treadmill. You're working hard, but not getting anywhere, and deep down, you know it. These patterns don't mean you're weak or foolish, they mean you're human. Your brain evolved to avoid loss, and letting go of hope often feels like the deepest kind of loss. But by understanding these signs, you can start to ask a crucial question. Am I holding on to this because it's truly possible and meaningful, or because I'm afraid of what will happen if I let it go? That question can be the first crack in the wall that's keeping you from moving forward. So how do you actually begin to release the kind of hope that's holding you back without feeling like you're betraying yourself? The first step is reframing what letting go means. Most people see it as failure or surrender, but in reality, it's a strategic decision, a choice to stop pouring energy into a path that's no longer leading where you want to go. Think of it like pruning a tree. You don't cut branches because you hate the tree. You do it so the tree can grow stronger, channeling its resources into the healthiest parts. The second step is to get brutally honest about your current reality. This can be uncomfortable, but it's essential. Ask yourself, if nothing changes, will I still want to be here in 1 year, 5 years? If the answer is no, then hope alone won't close that gap. You need a different plan. Third, separate your goal from the path you've chosen to get there. Often, we confuse the two. You might believe that your happiness depends on a specific relationship, job, or project, when in fact, what you truly want, love, fulfillment, stability, can be reached in other ways. By focusing on the underlying need rather than the rigid form you've imagined, you give yourself more options. And finally, practice small experiments in letting go. You don't have to abandon everything overnight. Start by creating small distances, reducing the time, energy, or attention you give to the situation, and observe how you feel. Sometimes, the relief you experience will be the clearest signal that you've been holding on too tightly. Letting go isn't the opposite of hope. It's the choice to redirect it towards something that can actually grow. To make this shift stick, you need practical tools that help you navigate the emotional turbulence of letting go. One of the most effective is a technique I call future mirroring. Imagine your life in two versions, one where you keep holding on, and one where you choose to release and redirect your energy. Write down in vivid detail what each scenario looks like, not just in terms of circumstances, but in how you feel day to day. This exercise forces your brain to confront the real emotional cost of staying versus the potential freedom of moving on. Another tool is the Hope Audit. List the main areas in your life where you're investing hope: relationships, projects, personal goals. For each, ask, what concrete evidence suggests progress and what's just wishful thinking? This isn't about crushing optimism. It's about separating hope that's backed by reality from hope that's drifting without anchor. A third strategy is to consciously replace the void that letting go creates. Nature hates a vacuum, and so does the human mind. If you simply remove a hope without filling that space with a new vision or goal, you're more likely to fall back into old patterns. Start by setting small, achievable aims that align with your current values, not the ones you had 5 years ago. These mini goals act like stepping stones, keeping you moving forward while your longer-term vision reshapes itself. And perhaps the most important habit is to regularly check in with yourself. Schedule moments, monthly or even weekly, where you ask, is what I'm hoping for still aligned with who I am becoming? This turns hope from a static attachment into a living, adaptive force that evolves with you. When you learn to release the kind of hope that holds you back, something surprising happens. You don't feel emptier, you feel lighter. It's as if you've been carrying a heavy bag for so long that you forgot what it was like to walk without strain. This isn't about becoming cynical or giving up on dreams. It's about making sure the dreams you carry are alive, responsive, and aligned with who you are today, not who you were years ago. True hope is not a fixed image of the future. It's a flexible, evolving trust in your ability to adapt and create meaning no matter what happens. By letting go of outdated hopes, you create space for new ones to take root, ones that match the person you're becoming. And when you act from that place, your motivation feels different. It's not desperate or forced, but steady and grounded. You begin to notice opportunities you couldn't see before, simply because you're no longer fixated on forcing one specific outcome to work. So if you've been holding on to a hope that feels more like a weight than a light, consider this your permission to set it down. Let your energy flow into places where it can grow something real. If this conversation has helped you see your own hopes more clearly, share it with someone who might need that same perspective. And if you want to keep building a sharper, kinder, more adaptable mind, subscribe to Mind Unlocked, your toolkit for better thinking and a more meaningful life.